Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2015 UK National Championships, hosted at the UK Board Game Expo on the 30th of May 2015, and brought to you by Netrunners.co.uk. We have, for your viewing pleasure and delight, Mr. David Hoyland on the left-hand side there, the UK National Champion of 2014, and sporting his rather spiffing Leela deck. On our right-hand side, we have Quinton Smith, Quinns, as he's more affectionately referred to, of Shut Up and Sit Down fame, sporting his rather spiffy Gagarin deck. And we have, obviously, what is first pick, first choice of the cut, the top 16 cut here. So this is the very first round of the top 16. And needless to say, when I looked at the fixtures, this was first on the list. I bagsied it, and I'm very excited to be able to present this to you. Now, the issue, I guess you could say, at this stage in the competition is that, first and foremost, both of these chaps, being the eminently famous Netrunner players that they are, their decks are a known quantity. Both of them kind of know what to expect from each other, and so it's going to be interesting to see how they deal with that, how they respond to that. Quinns there having, it looks like a fairly strong hand, got the Ash there in the remote, Dave having to take a mulligan already. It's probably not ideal straight off the bat. Both these guys performed incredibly well in Swiss. I think this was the kind of the closest. I think they finished just next to each other in Swiss. So it should be again a very entertaining game. First and foremost, obviously, apologies there for the rather shaky cam vision. Unfortunately, the mount, the tripod and mount had to be on the table rather than next to it, and so as a result it's a little bit shaky with people walking around and spectating the games. Apologies about that, nothing else that can be done, but let's get straight into it. And Quinns is going to go and start by installing in the remote, and he's going to ice up R&D. So big move there. Is he going to leave? Oh, no, he's not. Okay, so he's going to ice up HQ as well, so a fairly standard opening. Dave's going to draw first click, and he's going to play the fairy out. At the very least, able now to deal with any nasty sentries. Quinn sporting what can only be affectionately described as a rather spiffy Inspector Gadget coat, so it's good to be able to demark that, certainly. Dave playing out the Desperado, and passing the turnover, resing the pad campaign, taking his mandatory draw. We begin to affectionately refer to Dave Hoyland as the Dark Lord in our local meta of Cheltenham. Such is his dominance of our scene and the competitive scene in general. Dave, of course, winning the Sheffield regionals a few weeks ago and having that lovely, delicious regional buy that he was able to go and get coffee with. So there we have the install the remote, the paywall implementation coming out. So already Quinn's coming into quite a dominant position there, and going to cost him a fair few bob to get through and access those remotes. At the very least, could provide Quinns with the ability to do so. So he does have to be careful here. He's going to dirty laundry straight into archives for some lovely money. Obviously, the Desperado on the board as well. I'm having a think here as to whether he wants to face check into the central remotes. He's got a Plascreed in hand, which I'm guessing he's probably going to be quite keen to see. Going to draw, and he will play a passport. So already covering the half of the, or 2/3 rather I should say, of the spectrum of breakers. Just needs that barrier, of which Wayland obviously has a fair few, shall we say. Going to res Jackson and use him. Install res and use, I should say, rather. And again, checking those remotes against Gagarin it's not something you particularly want to be doing all the time. He's going to protect that Jackson Howard with a piece of ice. Dave's going to draw. Looking like he's probably digging for economy of some description. Got nothing sustainable yet. Just seen the Desperado and the Dirty Laundry. Hasn't seen any Katie Jones or anything of that description. But with that paywall implementation now, really it's like a pop-up window on every single remote now, as well as the actual extra charge of, well, it is effectively a pop-up window on every single remote. So it's going to become challenging for Dave just to keep face-checking those remotes. With the pad campaign dripping steadily over, Quinns looks to be gaining an economic advantage, and if you've got an economic advantage as Wayland, you have to be very, very careful, and certainly have to be wary of the potential seesaw scorch. Comes down to Beanstalk royalties. Not something you see very often in Wayland these days, particularly outside of Building a Better World. But again, this deck is all about the econ, and Quinns wanting to stay ahead of Dave's economy to threaten the Scorch at the very least, you would assume. Hence the reason why Dave's already put that Plasquik down on the board there. Looking to try and defend himself as best he possibly can against that. Obviously, if you don't run, you can't see Source Scorch, but then obviously in doing that, you open up some scoring opportunities for the corporation. Quinn's already there, double icing that remote, presumably getting ready to score. Dave playing out the Symmetrical Visage, which he'll be hereby referred to as the baby. And looks like passing the turn straight over after taking some cash. Quinn's taking his mandatory draw. Got a Project Atlas in hand there, I think along with the hedge fund. So maybe looking to overscore the Atlas. He's going to play the hedge fund to start with. And again, really gaining the economic advantage now, and the warning bells will certainly be sounding in Dave's ears. It looks like he's going to use the Jackson and put those two cards back in the deck before. It looks like he is going to install that Atlas. Will he advance it and try and go for a cheeky extra advancement? He's going to res the root. Again, another card you don't see a lot in Wayland these days, but obviously makes sense. Going to gain that extra tempo. And again, it's just making him run. That's exactly what he wants to do. He's threatening the Scorch kill if Dave does run. He's got a Plasquik down, so it's going to take a little while for him to get there at this stage. But it's just causing that little bit extra of aggravation. And again, with that paywall implementation out, it's going to cost him 1, and Quinns is going to gain 1 for the privilege of doing so. And trashing that Beanstalk. Dave drawing the first click before having a quick shuffle of the deck. Dave will sure gamble, putting him in a much better economic position at the very least. And again, obviously with the baby on the board now, he's able to gain a little bit of extra tempo drawing cards as well. The question is, can he, with a passport on the board, he's not likely able to get into that remote. Kind of with the central breakers, that is the limitation of them. You get a little bit of early game pressure, but without being able to check those remotes, you do have issues. Dave's just going to take money, passing the turn over to Quinns, who I'm guessing is going to greedily score out an overscored Atlas for 1 counter with his Beanstalk credits. And again, staying ahead economically, causing aggravation. Leela's ability obviously triggers. I think at this point Quinns may have suddenly realised that that was possibly bold, and leaving HQ wide open, and sure enough, there it comes. So straight off with the Siphon, Dave being able now to gain a slight more of an economic hit. Would be expecting him possibly here to look at trashing the Beanstalk as well. So he's got the 2 tags, which again I'm guessing he's probably going to want to clear at the very least. But he definitely will go in there with the Siphon, leaving Quinns with 3 credits and a pad campaign. He also gains 1 for the paywall implementation. Looks like Dave is going to clear both tags. So that's 3 clicks. Will he go in and trash? Or not? That's the question. Will he have another poke at HQ? No, it looks like he is in fact going to legwork. So it's a good opportunity to do so, hoping to score the extra agenda out of hand before he can put it into the remote. Sees a Caduceus, a Changeling, and an Ice Wall, and pass the turn. So hasn't seen any Scorched. So at the very least, Dave knows at this stage that he is safe for the time being. He doesn't have the pieces as it stands yet. He does obviously. Quinns has 1 more card that he hasn't seen. I think that may actually be the Scorch. I can't quite make it out, unfortunately. He's going to install there over HQ. Oh, what is that last card? Not quite sure. But either way, he's a little way off at this stage of being able to Scorch him. He's going to install another piece of ice there over R&D, which makes sense given that he's got no agendas in hand at the very least. And as it stands, it's still 2 points to nothing. And I suspect at this stage Quinns will probably be quite happy to see an agenda, just to be able to keep that scoring pressure on Dave, and particularly while he still has that Beanstalks there, providing him with extra cash for advancements. There's no harm in doing so. He's going to dirty laundry into it, though, presumably looking to trash it. Still, obviously, with the paywall implementation. Oh, I think the paywall implementation needs to go. Actually, sorry, I forgot that needs to be trashed. I think they may have missed that. Obviously, there's a current and no, sorry, of course, no, he didn't steal. Sorry, my apologies. No, Quinns scored the agenda rather than it being stolen, so the paywall stays. But he will go through and trash the route. I keep calling it the beanstalk, I don't know why. Apologies. We'll go through and trash the route. We'll draw, gaining a credit with Symmetrical Visage. And draw again. And pass the turn over. Another one off the pad campaign with a mandatory draw. Oh, Quinns, you tease, not showing us what it is. Heavens above. It looks like a Scorch there for me. So already we're seeing at least one in hand. We know he's got the overscored Atlas, so he's got the opportunity to bring out another one as and when he requires it. So already the piece is now beginning to come to fruition. But again, he's got the Plascreed on board. He's going to install in advance. And he's going to have to pay for the privilege this time at the very least. And gain a credit. And then pass the turn over to Dave, who will Symmetrical Visage first click. Oh, you've got to love the baby. Got to love the baby. Consult the baby. You will play that Corroder. Still lacking a means to pressure code gates on remotes. He's going to run it and see what he can find. Let's see what he sees. He will in fact see an Enigma, which he has no way of breaking, so he'll lose his third click. Oh no, sorry, his fourth click rather, I should say, because yeah, of course he Symmetrical Visage installed the Corroder and ran. Passing the turn over to Quinns and opening up that lovely scoring window, which I'm assuming he will greedily consume. Triple advance and score a geothermal fracking. And we'll pass the turn back over to Mr. Hoyland. So certainly Dave now feeling the pressure. He is going to run R&D. And... oh, sorry, I apologise. He's bouncing the ice from off R&D with Leela's ability. And then he's going to draw, first click, gaining some money. He is staying ahead economically at the very least at this stage, but with that geothermal fracking on the board, Quinns has the opportunity to make money fairly quickly, obviously at the cost of bad publicity, but at the same time, he's not going to care too much about that if he's going for the Scorch win anyway. Sorry, Quinns having to discard there because he's over his hand limit. So Dave having already drawn once, second click, he will do something. Going to pay for something. An R&DI. He's going to run R&D. Makes good sense. And hopefully being able to bounce another piece of ice will be quite strong. He's not going to res. He will obviously have to pay one for the privilege. Quinns will gain one for the privilege. Not seeing anything off R&D. That paywall implementation staying where it is. And giving him the extra funds he needs to get ahead. Discarding the spare baby. How cruel. I don't think Quinns is seeing much in the way of agendas at this stage. Obviously, Dave now having looked at the two cards on top of R&D. So Dave can kind of afford to wait here and potentially R&D lock. So Quinns is going to have to look at protecting R&D, I would suggest, as a matter of priority. I don't know if he's running anything along the lines of snares or not. I haven't seen his most recent iteration of this deck. I know it did very well in the London regional. And I believe it top 8'd. I'm not sure if that's quite grammatically the way to put it, but looks like he's got options with ice. Dave obviously now having effectively a full breaker suite up on R&D. Quinns is going to draw, and it looks like he's drawn into a Data Raven there, I want to say. I'm pretty sure that is a Data Raven, and that would be ideal to put over R&D there. It's going to force Dave to make unfortunate decisions, and it looks like it's indeed going straight onto R&D, which he'll pay one for the privilege of doing. It's coming to that point in the game where Criminal begins to make their influence known. The threat of Siphon is still very, very much there. Threat of shutdowns, particularly with that kind of money that Quinns has at this point. Not a huge quantity. He is doing all right. I think he's on about 10 credits there, 11 credits. And so he's going to draw a Symmetrical Visage, consult the baby. And looks like he's going to install another piece, another R&DI, is it? It is indeed another R&DI, so 3 cards off the top of R&D now. Third click, he will run R&D, and Quinns here having to make the decision as to whether he's going to res that Data Raven or not. Obviously wanting to try and keep ahead economically at this stage if he possibly can, and threaten the Sea Source, Scorch, and at this point he is in a fairly good position to be able to do that. Dave having installed 2 RDIs, has taken a bit of a credit hit in order to do so. Has the bad publicity to be able to use. Obviously, Quinns, sorry, having used the geothermal fracking the previous turn, which I missed. Sorry. Yeah, he's really agonising over this one as to whether it's the right call to res this. Dave obviously having the option just to bounce off. And it's going to be interesting to see what he does here. It looks like he's not. He's going to go through. He's going to take the tag. Will he break it with Fairy? That's the real question. Looks like he's not going to. Looks like he's going to carry on. So it's going to be a trace. Looks like the trace has succeeded. So Quinns will get a counter. So that's bold. That's very, very bold. And it means now that Dave is in a position where he can be scorched. He's obviously got the right amount of cards, but if Quinns has 2 Scorches in hand, then he does have issues. So he'll see 1, which is an NEPD, which he'll score. Really putting him in an economic pit at this stage. He's got to bounce a piece of unresed stuff first, trigger Leela's ability, and obviously the paywall implementation will trash now at this stage. So he's going to bounce the HQ ice. Or is he going to bounce what's in the remote? Yes, he's going to bounce the HQ ice. So see the second, see nothing, see the third. He will score that, so another Atlas taking him to 4 points, so 4 points all. And as I say, the paywall trashes. But is that counter on the Data Raven going to be decisive? Dave have 1 click left. Does he go again? No, sorry, he's still bouncing rather, I should say. So he bounces the upgrade there in R&D, and he's going to play security testing at last click. And the question is here is like I say, has that Data Raven become decisive? Oh, it doesn't really matter at this stage now because obviously he's left the tag on anyway. 1 Scorch. And Dave having to choose now. I think he's got 3 cards or 4 cards in hand. I'm thinking he's got 4. Yep, so he's got 4 cards in hand, which he'll take the hit to. It looks like a second Scorch, and it's going to be game. So as the second Scorch comes out off the Plascrete, obviously with the Atlas counter, Quinns can go and fetch the final Scorch for the win. So it's a triple Scorch, and there's not very much you could do about that. And obviously that Data Raven there did indeed prove to be decisive. Dave Hoyland therefore dropping down into the losers bracket, and a long way to climb back up in order to be able to hold on to his title. Quinns going through onto the winners bracket, and I think we'll be following him through on the next game. Some exciting games of Netrunner to bring you, folks. That is just but a taste of what is to come, and we hope you'll join us over at Netrunners.co.uk for yet more footage to come of the UK 2015 National Championships.